Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Set the Tone with Mike Special. Today, I've got my lioness, my queen,
Oh my
the love of my
gosh.
life, my wife Bristal. Yay! I think it's extremely important to introduce and talk to and interview, even though I've interviewed you time and time
Many
again
times.
over my life,
Yes.
for you guys to see my support system and
Aw.
my absolute someone that filled in the void
Your
for me.
biggest cheerleader,
Biggest cheerleader.
your biggest fan.
Yes.
That's me.
What I wanted to talk a little bit about today is how we met, where our lives were, how we got back together, things like that. Just some little tidbits that you guys may like.
That means we have to basically say what our age is, right?
I don't know that we
Because
need
I
to
don't
do
know.
that. Those are not, but we look good for our age.
Okay.
We're almost 50 years old.
Oh,
I'll throw it out
gosh.
there.
Okay.
I'm the older one, of course.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I am the elder in the house by a couple months only.
Yes.
So,
At least that's what people think, anyways, when they see you.
yeah, it's the gray, it's the, little bit of gray, which started happening really when we got together.
What? No,
Well,
it didn't. I
no.
have pictures
Oh, okay.
that show that did not happen when we got together.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it definitely happens to the best of us, but I think it looks all right though. So, how
So-
did you and I meet?
Well, we
I was
were,
there, but
yes, we were probably 20, 21 years old. And in Austin, we have some country bars here. And
Yes.
back in the day, one of them was Dance Across Texas.
Yes.
We had Dallas Nightclub and we had Hingham High Saloon. I think those were the three biggest. Am I missing? Like, those were the major ones,
yeah, those
right?
were the major ones. I think when we were younger, there was the Lumberyard.
Yeah, I remember that one.
But that
I rarely
was,
went to that one.
Yeah, that was in our young days, the teenage years.
Yeah.
That was popular in high school and stuff like that.
So I can't remember which bar we met at, which dance hall we met at, but I know that there's flashes of memories that I have of talking to you or watching you at Hingham High because you worked there.
Stalker.
Yes, I think we
Yeah.
both stalked each other
Yeah,
back then.
I'll admit it.
Okay.
But I just, yeah.
So what is your first memory? I mean, how do you remember me back then?
I don't know if it was at Dance Across or if it was at Hingham High, but seeing your little booty dance around the dance floor and spin around and turn and all that fun stuff.
Because I was on the
remem-
dance floor 90% of the time. I loved a country dance.
Constantly.
I don't remember ever seeing you on the dance floor
Well, it's because I was always behind the bar
or
Typically.
at the front door
or just posting up somewhere with the beer.
or starting a fight with
Or
somebody
starting a
or
fight.
finishing a fight.
Well,
with somebody.
I rarely started
Yeah.
fights. I didn't, I wasn't the asshole that went and, picked fights with everybody and stuff like that. But I did like a good physical altercation every once
Yeah,
in a while. That
you
brought me joy.
weren't afraid of it.
No, I actually enjoyed it.
It's crazy.
But, so yeah, seeing you dance around, seeing your little booty go all around the dance floor and stuff like that. I knew that you were taken though. So I always kind of kept my distance and just looked from afar.
Yeah.
So
So it never went as far. It never went further than we just had crushes on each other.
Yeah.
At 20, 21 years old.
yeah. And then we both kind of went our separate ways. So a little bit of background. Bristal is my favorite wife, and
Oh
we
my
always
gosh.
kind of joke around about this, and it's always kind of stated. She started it. She looked at me one day and said, "You're my favorite husband." So with that said, I've been married 3 times. My
But
first.
it's good we can joke like that. We joke.
No.
We don't get jealous of conversations. We have a lot of conversations that I think most people don't typically have. I don't think it's normal to talk about exes and joke and be able to clown around about stuff like that. But it's our past, and we look at it exactly that way. Of anything before us, who cares? It's funny.
Yeah,
It's funny to talk about.
100%. No, and that's, we've heard from several friends and other individuals that how do you do that? How
Yeah.
do you have conversations like that and not get mad? It's just, again, it's part of your past that brought you to where you are today and made you the person that you are today. So you should be thankful of that past. Even if you don't agree with it, it's still got that individual to where they are today.
Yeah.
So with that said, I've been married 3 times. My first marriage lasted like 6 months, maybe. Dated a girl for quite a while, got married. She wanted to go down the road of having kids, buying the house, all that good stuff. And I knew in my heart that it would not be right to continue a relationship with her because those were things that I did not want necessarily with her. And great girl, have no animosity.
So why did you do it? Why did you go through with it if you knew before you were married, as you were getting married, you're at the church that day?
Yeah. And everybody around me said, you do not have to do this.
Because I feel like there's a lot of people that can relate to this.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to a point, I think, in a relationship, women especially, their clock is ticking. And they want to get married, and they want that fantasy, the white picket fence, the 2.5 kids,
They have
a
a
dog.
timeline. They're like, I need kids by this age, typically, or
Yeah,
I don't think
at
that's
least it
typical,
was
but
when we grew up,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
definitely changed now. Yeah, and I felt like I owed it to her because we had been together for a while to do that, even though my heart
Yeah.
wasn't in it. And in knowing that, when things really started to get real, that's when I pulled back. I said, I can't do this, and I can't do this to her, and I didn't want to live a lie. I knew that once we started having kids and buying a house, separation would be completely different at that point, right? And that was scary.
Yeah.
That was really scary. So I cut it short. Again, think she hates my guts. I would love to, Austin's a very small town, and
Yeah.
it's shocking. I think I've run into her 2 times since then, and that was
Like you talked to her, or
no,
you
just seen
saw
her.
somewhere.
Just seen her.
Yeah.
She will not talk to me.
Yeah. But you would
But
welcome it. It's no big deal.
absolutely.
It's no big deal to me either. So
Yeah, and that's the thing, I'm sorry for the pain that I caused in her life, but I also hope that she realizes that it would have been a lot more painful years down the road.
Yeah.
So if I need to take the blame for that, 100% do it. But it is what it is. And then after that, I got married again to my son's mother. We're married for about 11 years, 10, 11 years. And things just didn't work. Very similarly, got to a point where I just knew things would be best for both of us if we went separate ways.
And when did you figure that out?
You
Or
know,
when did you get a hint of, I don't think this is going to work, or to the point where I know this is not going to work?
I knew for a while,
Yeah.
but I fought to keep it together. I had come from a family of divorced parents. I don't think it really affected me much. I like to think that it didn't, just because I was so young. And the lady that is my mother today, I consider my mom, period, hands down,
Yeah.
no excuse, nothing. That is my mother. And so I don't think it really affected me, but I had seen growing up how this affected other kids. And so I wanted to make sure that, I did everything that I could to keep a family together for my son.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until one day when, gosh, he was, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old or something like that. And, we had gotten into an argument, and he was present, and me and him got in the truck, and he looked at me and he said, I would never marry someone like her. I don't know how you're married to her. And that just was a knife in my heart.
Yeah, and he had to have been like 9 at
Yeah.
that age, like pretty young.
100%. And, kids are a little dramatic and things of that nature. But what really hit me was if he can look at you and say that, it's because he understands what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, what on earth am I doing? What am I showing him marriage is?
Yeah.
This was his example, and I had made a mental choice of, after the first of the year and after the holidays, I was going to bring it up and say, look, I don't think this is working out. We need to do what's best for Tate, and this is not, the best thing for him. Let's figure out how to go our separate ways. But she beat me to it, I think, like 3 days before Christmas. So we went our separate ways from there, I was divorced for a while. And then that sleep, I'm not even
A
going to
very
get in.
little while.
Yeah, because you started stalking me.
No.
So let's go into your previous, before we even met, because I want to talk about, as we were dating, some of the steps that we took before truly committing.
Yeah, I feel like I was an immature person for a really long time. I didn't party. Like, I was very studious, and I did the responsible thing. But I say I was immature because I just didn't know how to be in a relationship. I don't think so. Mike is my third marriage as well, and
Three times a charm.
yes, my favorite husband.
Yep.
So I started dating my first husband when I was 13 years old. That Mike went to high school with. And I actually, oddly enough, went to the same high school as your ex-wife. But
Yes.
anyways, both high schools in Austin. Started dating when I was 13. We got married when I was 19, I believe, 18 or 19. And we were married for 5 years, I think. But you look at that 5 years and the time that we were together previously, like, that's a very long time.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much all that I knew. And we got divorced. I moved on a couple of years later and remarried the father of my two children. I have two sons who are 20 and 18 right now. And we were married for maybe almost 10 years as well. And then I was divorced a year or so, and we circled back on Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing too.
Yeah.
But it was definitely good for us.
Yeah. And we've been married for over 10 years now.
Do you remember, when we first started dating, we're getting to know each other better, going to dinner, doing things like that. You and I actually sat down. Let me step back. I'm asked often, how do you guys make what you do work and look so easy? Things aren't always easy, but I can say that they are easier than I had ever imagined. And one of the things that I think I lend that value to, or the reason why it is so easy, is because you and I sat down. And it was almost, I don't want to say it was like a business agreement. It really wasn't. But what I think it brought was age and maturity.
Yeah.
And you and I sat down.
And knowing what you do and don't want.
Exactly. But we set boundaries early on.
Yeah.
I know as a younger person, I would, get into arguments and fights, and, you call names and you do stuff like that. And every time you do something like that, the next time you do it, you have to go a little bit further and a little bit further to gain that reaction from that person that you want. It's not right.
Yeah.
But it just.
Which I never had that, but you did. There was
100
never name calling on on my previous marriages or anything
Yeah.
like that. But I understand.
And that was
yours
definitely what I was used to. I've always been, pretty used to pretty explosive relationships. And those relationships that I did have in my past that weren't explosive, I was the bad person in there.
Yeah.
I've always dealt with and always hung out with people that I felt I could fix or help, and those are the relationships that had been the most damning,
Yeah. And we both said, by the way, that we were never going to get married again.
100%. I had
After
no
our last
intention,
marriages, yeah.
And it wasn't that, I was out to peruse and, become a male slut of Austin, at the older age again. I did that in my younger years, did it in the bar days. It was out of my system, and while it can be fun for a little bit, it's empty. It's an empty lifestyle. At the end of the day, you want someone that you have that compassion and that commitment with, that you share. But to get back, you and I sat down and talked with one another about what deal breakers were, things that could never happen, things that could never be done to one another, and things that we would never do. The other top priority was, that the mainstays in our life are kids. And
Well, I feel like we put our marriage over that, which we as Christians also sat and talked about God first, our marriage second, and the kids third. They are still top priority, but our marriage was over that, because if we can't hold it together, it's going to be worse for the kids. So top priority was our marriage.
Well, and you want to serve as an example to your kids,
Right.
you know, and show them what true life could be. You know, when we got together, ultimately, my son, who's the oldest of the three, had some issues with that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he was not used to seeing individuals be nice to one another,
Right.
and he didn't know how to respond to that. You know, and I think over the years he gets it now. You know, he had himself, you know, several relationships that are extremely toxic, and is
Mm-hmm.
actually in one now that's very loving
Yeah.
and things like that, which is something we've always wanted for him.
Yeah.
So it's really great, and it is amazing what example does
Mm-hmm.
to individuals,
To show you
especially
what
young
you
ones.
can have.
Yeah, absolutely. I just drew a blank.
So you want to, I mean, we can just dive
Well, you
into
know, one
more.
of the things that I wanted to talk about too is traditionalism. You
Okay.
know, and I think, you know, we've lost a lot of the traditionalism in America today. You
And it's
know,
not for everybody. Not
it
everybody wants it, and that's okay.
it definitely isn't. However, there's a reason why we feel that it works.
Mm-hmm.
You're very traditional.
Very much. My
Eh,
parents were, you know, I didn't come from a home a divorced family. My parents were married for over 40 years until my dad passed away. So I watched their marriage, which was very traditional. You know, my mom worked very hard inside the home and occasionally outside the home, but for the most part, you know, my dad was he was in construction. He was a home builder in Austin. He septic tanks, several things on the side as well as home building, but you know, I watched him, you know, come home every day to my mom cooking dinner for him. It was to be served when he walked in the door, and his brandy and seven was made on the rocks for him
Mm-hmm.
as he pulled up in the driveway. My mom made that, handed him his drink as he walked in the door, and then started serving us at the table, and then sat down once everything was, I guess, on the table and ready to go.
Yeah. You know, and I think a lot of people would look at something like that and definitely not want that lifestyle
Yeah.
or think that it's chauvinistic
Yeah.
in a way. I'm not a power tripper at
Mm-hmm.
all, but what I can say is that value that you bring is something that I've never had and something that I was never used to
Yeah.
and something that took me years to get used to because I was not used to that at all.
Yeah. So what do you think being married to me has taught you? Like I know that it's so different night and day from what you've experienced in the past, what you
Hmm.
saw growing up. So what would you say that you've had to overcome in our relationship?
One of the biggest things that I think took me years to kind of get over is you would ask me questions about my day. You know, I would come
Mm-hmm.
home and you would say, "What'd you eat for lunch? Who'd you see? Who'd you talk to?" And immediately my response would be defensive because I was used to someone asking me those questions in order to start a fight or to pick apart my
Mm-hmm.
day or,
Yeah.
well, why were you with them? And why did you go
Mm-hmm.
over there? What else were you doing? And things like that. So I immediately would get defensive with you.
Yeah. Why do you want to know?
Why do you want to know? Because I thought for
Yeah.
sure you were just doing this to start a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it took years of being with you
Literally.
to understand that there was no shoe drop coming. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
thought at any given point the crazy would come out and, you know, pans would start flying and, you know, who knows, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
thought that at some point this can't be real.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, and that's something
Yeah, we're 11 years in and you're
I'm
like,
still waiting for the pan to
yeah,
fly. No,
no.
no, not at all. I
No.
know that it's not going to fly
Yeah.
because she wouldn't want to waste the food.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't mean that I don't ever deserve it. But with that being said, you and I don't fight.
Right.
We can bicker at one
Mm-hmm.
another and snap at one another. But one of the things that you do as well that I think is extremely important is I think as men, most masculine men, manly men, take on a lot. And I'm not saying that others don't. However, in a household, most of the burden is put on the man, and I'm happy to carry that. And we deal with a lot of stress that sometimes we just don't even share.
Yeah.
And having a support system of even being able to walk into a door and having a little bit of breathing room to decompress is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's not like that all the time, but there's been times where I've come in the door and I deal with subcontractors and contractors and things like that. And there's a different way that you talk to those individuals.
Right.
You know, it's not, hey man, how you doing? Sure is nice outside today, isn't it? It's like, why isn't this shit done? When's it going to get done? And why isn't it done? And it takes me sometimes to decompress. And you've often looked at me after I've walked in the door and said, you need to flip the switch off. I'm not a subcontractor. And it's just a mode that I need.
And I haven't done that in forever because I feel like you, just over the years, you really don't do that anymore. Like it's been a long time. I feel like, I mean, you still have really bad days and you come in and, you know, I'm just giving you hugs and kisses, but
yeah. And there's a reaction too that you have if you see that, which blew my mind early in our relationship. If we started to talk about something or you saw that I was irritable or something like that, you would go, hey, I'm going to give you your space. Go do some boy things. Go lift something. Go shoot something. Go chase something. Go hit something. We'll come back. Circle back on this. I hate that term.
I know, but
circle back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's come back to that.
Yeah, let's come back to that. But you would say, well, just come back to it and talk about it later. And I thought that was the weirdest thing in the world. I was like, she's not going to want to engage and fight with me, or you know, she's actually going to give me space. But the thing is you would come back and
sometimes because what is weird, I feel like about me is sometimes I forget. Like if hours go by, I forgot that we even like were going to bicker or that we did bicker. Like I don't know why, it just sometimes it rolls off of me and you're like, so are you still mad about XYZ? And I'm like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
like,
and that's what's weird too, is I've often told you that you're an odd bird
all the time
because you handle stuff differently, and it's very odd to me.
Yeah.
Most relationships and most women that I know make a tally of when you up, you know, and when you least expect it, that's when they're going to pull it out and go, remember 7 years ago when you did this and blah, blah, blah. That's never happened with you.
Yeah.
And you have the mind of an elephant. You remember everything.
Yeah.
So you have the ability to do that, but you choose love over being right about something. And I would like to say I do that all the time. I think I do better at it. It's just you typically always are right. So the times that I am right, I have to take time to gloat on that to make sure that you remember those times when I was right. Yeah. But let's get back to, you know, us meeting. So Facebook brought us back together.
Yes.
We sat down, had a great conversation. We, you know,
Well, hold on.
Okay.
You all of the sudden started liking like every picture of mine, and then you would comment. And so my parents semi-retired whenever I was a junior in high school, and we moved to New Mexico. And my dad always dreamt of opening up a hunting and guide service. And that's what he did. So, you know, I was very familiar with how, you know, elk hunting and hunting in New Mexico, basically, you know, you're on a draw system, or unless you know a landowner to get a landowner permit, which is very rare because the government owns a lot of the land out there. But anyways, I can remember posting some hunting stuff or whatever and you commenting because you're a hunter. And I just remember thinking, I was like, all of the sudden, this guy that I haven't seen in 20 years is liking and commenting on my stuff. I'm like, okay. And then I think the first time we messaged each other, I think you messaged me, but I was in Napa Valley with a group of girlfriends. And
this is a good story.
I don't drink, right? So I don't drink very often. It's very rare. And when I do, I am drunk after half a glass. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be... But you know what? I drink tequila okay. I drink tequila.
It's just a little different. That
weird.
hits a little different. Yeah.
But we had been on a tour, and I probably had, between all of the wineries that we hit, a full 2 glasses. Between all the sips that I took. No, I was so beyond tipsy. But I can't remember. You had reached out about, I think you and Tate were going to be in town for something. And
it was before that.
Oh, it was.
I had messaged you about. See, I remember.
Maybe about
it's
hunting.
Okay.
What was it?
It was about hunting.
Okay.
We had, you know, gone back and forth, and you know, maybe at some point we can meet up. Blah blah blah. It was very, you know, it didn't get into any details at that point yet. But go ahead.
Okay. So,
Because you went deep fast. You went deep
oh,
fast.
I would not say that.
Go ahead, tell them
Okay.
what you said.
Oh my gosh.
See?
No, I remember. Okay, you wrote something, and then I responded with, "I'm a little tipsy, so I might be inappropriate."
Yeah. And so get this. I was sitting in a
Ugh.
meeting with a possible or current client, I can't remember. And you know how on your phone a text message will come up and you can have it show whatever it's going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned that day that that probably wasn't the best thing to do because my phone was sitting on the table and the client looked at it and she said something like, "Oh, I wonder what that's about," or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Super embarrassing. So my response to you was what? Do you remember? Because it
You
pissed you off.
said, "You're funny."
Yeah. And for you to come out and say something like, "Oh, I may be a little inappropriate, I've had a
Yeah.
little drink,"
Like, you know
that
me
was,
now. Like, that's huge. Like, I
yeah,
just don't say stuff like
yeah,
that.
you were putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Now in
And
private, a little different, but
yes.
to be that early on for you
Yeah.
to say something like that, you're stepping
And then
out.
you said, "You're funny."
So
And
it
I
was
was like,
almost like you thought that I would just kind of shut it down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely didn't do that. I just didn't know how to react to that. You got this girl that, is prim and proper and things like that. And then she sends you something like that. And you're like, I don't know where this is going to go, but I've got to
Mm-hmm.
stop it before maybe a picture comes across or something. Who
No.
knows?
Yeah.
Well, she said she was tipsy. So maybe it was just hopes on my end.
Yeah.
But with that said,
I can't remember, I guess, what came next. Like, you had, well, then we did, you, I guess, maybe messaged me later and said, "Hey, sorry, I had a
yeah.
client
Yeah.
with me."
Yeah.
And
I tried to
yeah.
try to recover from that.
And you said we should get together sometime.
And then we had a wedding up in Dallas, and I said you and I should get together. Maybe that was the weekend you were in California. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You have the elephant memory. We'll lean towards yours. But after that, started dating. Again, you and I had no thought of getting married or anything else because we weren't going to do it.
Right. And we were long distance. I was in Dallas. You were in Austin. But you know what's weird is I think about one of the first things after, maybe it was our first date. You said to me, "Do you know what I do for a living?" And I was like, "Yeah, you build houses or something. And you're in construction." And you're like, "And you're okay with that?" Like, I just still can't get over, like, why it, I don't know, you had a preconceived notion of Dallas. Even though I'm from Austin, I had lived in Dallas or Allen, Texas for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And you had this notion in your mind, I think, that Dallas people were just snotty.
100%. That was 100% my entire thought process. Is I thought
Like,
all
I wouldn't
Dallas,
like you.
yeah, I thought all Dallas people were conceited and snotty. And so there were several times that, I had come up there and we'd go to events or parties or stuff like that with your friends, and I was extremely reserved.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty reserved up until I get to know you, it goes back to I was told years ago that I have several acquaintances and very few friends. And that's true, especially the older that you get. But I just didn't want to open up to any of these preconceived, snobby, shitty people, right? And I found that wasn't true as well. So you've helped educate me a lot, and several of those people are extremely good friends of ours,
Yeah. And there's still those people in Dallas,
Oh,
those
yeah.
people. But I really feel like, I feel like I'm down to earth. And a majority of my friends, because you gravitate towards people that you surround yourself with in the life that you're living at the time. And they are all very sweet people. But I do feel like, and you know this now, in Dallas, there's like a dress code. Like, if you are dressed to the nines all the time. And in Austin, it's weird to be even dressed up.
Yep.
And I still can't get that concept in my head. And, we've been married, like I said, we've been together 11 years. And even now when I'm here or even on the job sites, I'm in a dress.
Yeah, it's super odd. It took me forever. I stole you from corporate,
Yeah, I
the
quit
corporate life. You did 24 years in HR.
We don't have to throw a year out
something
there.
like
Long
that.
time.
A long time.
In human
HR.
resources, yeah.
And you were always in, you were always dressed up, in heels and this, that, and the other. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted you to be able to leave that environment
Yeah.
and become a real estate agent, because it didn't make any sense to me that we would build something and we would hire someone else to sell it and
Mm-hmm.
pay them to sell it, when ultimately we would get the phone call of, hey, we've got a possible
Yeah.
buyer over here. You want to come help me, fill in the blanks and help sell this
Mm-hmm.
thing? So we were selling it anyway. Why on earth would we pay an agent to do that? So,
It took you a couple years to convince me. It's hard when you are in corporate America for so long with a really nice, steady, stable
yeah,
salary and benefits to
yep,
go into something not stable and without benefits.
yeah. But that was also part of your identity too.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the back of my mind, I wanted to make sure that I was not trying to redefine your identity,
Yeah.
but look at it as an opportunity, and I think that worked really well. It
Mm-hmm.
afforded us the ability, as you said earlier, we were in two separate cities for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You had 50-50
Custody.
custody with the kids. So the weeks that you had the kids, you were in Dallas, and
Yep.
then those that you weren't, you were in Austin.
Week on, week off.
And a lot of people look at that and they go, that's odd. How on earth do you do that? But you had a lot of friends that were pilots, or,
Yeah.
were out of town quite a bit and didn't see
From
each
each
other.
other. Yeah.
And what I liked about it is I could work my ass off and not have to worry about ignoring you during those time periods in which
Yeah.
you were away. And it made those times together even better. We missed each other over those time periods and stuff like that.
When I think it annoyed people that we were so happy all the time.
Yeah.
They're like,
They were waiting
why
for
are
the
you,
shoe to drop too.
yeah, they're like, why are you so happy? Oh, you only see each other every
Yeah.
other week, which I think does contribute to that. I also feel like I'm just a happy person.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like to give out that energy of negativity.
Yeah,
But I felt like it definitely
absolutely.
helped with the being excited to see each other every other week.
Yep.
And making the most of the week that we had
Mm-hmm.
before I went back. Yeah.
Now with you here full time, I'm just excited to see you every day.
Yes.
And when I wake up and have you next to me, that's tremendous. That's something that is now complete in us. And it happened at the same time that all the kids are out of the house.
Well, yeah.
So we're still pretty young, and we travel a lot and we have the ability to do the things that we love, and that's something, we live life,
Yeah.
and that's something that you had said a while back was, I would much rather travel and make memories and have things, and so we travel a shit ton. We, we're collecting those memories because, again, those are the things that can't be taken from you.
Points whores.
Point horse.
Point horse.
Point. Yeah, there you go.
It's hard to say.
You got to say it a little slower.
Yeah. So we take advantage of those points.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I know that you have some questions for me.
Well, yes. I have a girl question.
You have a girl question.
If I die before you, are you going to remarry?
No.
Are you going to go on the Golden Bachelor?
No.
Are you
No, because the thing is again, there's more of a higher percentage of crazy females in this world than there is of non-crazy females, hands down. And I don't want that headache.
What if you found a non-crazy?
No, I don't. They don't exist.
Yeah.
Again, you are a unicorn, and some of your friends are a unicorn.
Okay.
You guys don't exist. There's not a farm in which you guys are bred on or picked from trees or anything else. It doesn't happen that way. No.
Well, I have like 6 sisters, so there is like a farm that we are bred on.
Yeah, but
and-
none of them are like you.
Yes, they are.
I don't know if I could say that.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people even think that you're the unicorn. Close friends of ours think that you're a unicorn. So I got the unicorn.
That's just because I don't have that jealousy bone. Like I feel like a lot of my friends,
Yeah.
and they have no issue hiding that. They're like, yeah, I'm a jealous person. I don't like this, which to each his own. But I
yeah.
just don't even think about that.
No, it's just in having that understanding makes life so much better, right?
Yeah.
It's always kind of like the girl that was the pastor's daughter, and if you're going to restrict, or even kids, when they're super young and you restrict them and keep them from doing things and stuff like that, when they get the opportunity to do something, they're going to go balls out, right? I have no want or need to do anything with anybody else because of what we have.
Yeah.
again, been down that road. There's just no need. I feel complete, and you are the love of my life. There's no reason to go anywhere else. And why would I want to destroy something like that, right? So,
Well, but if I'm gone, you're not destroying anything.
yeah, but why mess around with head games?
Okay.
You know, it's just I will go to the ranch. I'll continue to work. I will grow deer. I will drink whiskey, iced tea, smoke cigars now, and enjoy my time. There's just no need for a headache.
Okay.
I just wouldn't. And you? Let's reverse that question.
Oh no, we can't reverse questions.
Yeah, let's reverse
No,
that
I don't.
question.
I don't ever want to get remarried. Can't say I wouldn't date.
Yeah.
But remarry, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to. I don't need another piece of paper to have companionship. And I think, going into our 50s now, that's what we would look for is like maybe a companionship and not
Yeah.
complicate it more than that.
100%. You know, I can see that completely. What other questions do you have for me?
Okay, do you ever think about the Roman Empire?
You know, what the fuck is going on with this question? It makes zero sense. I've spent, I don't know, 45 minutes, not a great amount of time, but more than I would like to spend on trying to figure out what this thing is even about. You know, it's one of these new little
So you
trends
don't ever
and
think
everything.
about it? Like-
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm going back to this is a bullshit trend, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yes, I do. Okay? But I think about it
Interesting.
more. I even go back a little bit further to like gladiator times, 300, stuff like that.
Little Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah,
Which
I go back
isn't
that time.
the
It's not,
not the
at
Roman
all.
Empire,
It's
yeah.
not at all. However, it was extremely violent,
yeah.
so
But you
I
think
like
about
that.
Roman times. Like Roman times, I think, in my head, I think about fighting as well. Or
Yeah, a little bit. And you think of the Colosseum and stuff. My mind automatically goes to guys little boys, and I'm not cool with that at all.
Gross. Like what?
But that's what they
What?
did back in those days. They procreated with women basically only, or it was to show power, and then they raped little boys. That's what they did in Roman times, which is bullshit. But I do like the violent aspect of it.
Oh my God.
Love the violent
Lord
aspect
help
of it.
me.
That's why I go back even further to the gladiator days. Plus, there's a scene in 300 that's my favorite scene in the world. You know, you had was it Xerxes came, and one of his messengers came to tell, what's his name?
Marcus? No.
Was it Marcus?
No, it was
The lead
the one
dude,
that was
period.
raised
We're
as
going
his-
with
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
You know, and he turns and looks at his wife, as this guy's running his mouth in front of him, truly being disrespectful and things of that nature. And he turns around and he looks at his wife before he kicks this guy in the hole, and she just kind of nods as to get his approval, and then he kicks him into the hole. That's by far
powerful.
my favorite scene. She knew that he could do it. He had the power to do it, things of that nature, but he just looked over to go, is this cool? Are we good?
So I should have asked you about the movie 300 instead of the Roman Empire thing.
Yeah.
But you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, no, I just don't understand it. But yeah, of course, it's a power thing, and I think most men like those aspects of battle and things of that nature. At least the guys I
Okay.
hang out with.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Because I saw the flip of that question today.
Which-
You've got this stupid question running around for guys.
Okay. What is it?
How often do you think about your ex-best friend?
My ex-best friend.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded really good, but they said that this was the female version of the Roman Empire.
Hardly ever.
Oh. Well, again, you're a unicorn.
Okay, so what?
So that may not work on you, so someone else go out and try that. But
Because if I did, if she's an ex-best friend, then there was tension and issues, and that's just something. I don't block stuff out. I think I'm just like this. I'm not a hippie, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't focus on the negative energy that might bring to me.
I get it. And I can't think of an ex-best friend that you've 86,
I have a couple.
but not recently.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I
it's been a
mean?
while. It's been a
I
while.
asked someone else this, and her response was every day, every time I wake up. And I was like, okay, well, there you go. That is the Roman Empire
Yeah.
question for the girls. Is there anything else?
Yeah. What is your favorite conspiracy theory?
Favorite conspiracy theory? I'm going to catch shit for this. That the earth is fucking flat. It is. And we have a wall.
It's your favorite because you believe it, or it's
I
your
do
favorite
believe
because
it.
you think it's crazy out there?
That's the thing.
Or
I don't
both.
think it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that there's a wall of ice around what we think is the globe, and that there's countries and resources beyond that. I don't think that's a conspiracy. I think that there's a bunch of shit that people don't tell us because they don't want us to know. I think it goes back to even healing yourself and your body and stuff like that. Frequencies are huge. Why aren't they talking about frequencies? Why aren't they talking about grounding? Why does the pharmaceutical company always have a pill for something and then 3 more because that pill gives you the shits or makes you nauseated or something like that? They don't want you to be better. They want us to be fat asses and lazy so that we can be controlled at the end of the day. And they don't want to give us knowledge. That's probably one of my favorite ones, and one of the ones that you roll your eyes at all the time.
Yeah, you can't convince me.
There's a firmament 100% over the earth that separates it. You cannot convince me that the earth is not flat.
Okay.
It makes no sense.
And I don't try because I know.
Yeah, because it's a
you
rabbit
have been
hole.
like rabbit holing the hell out of that.
Adamant.
Yeah.
Adamant. It doesn't make sense to me. Why on earth would you fly to the East Coast from Texas to get to Africa versus flying the opposite way via California? Isn't it closer in mileage? But if you look at it from a flat Earth map, which we used to have in the 60s, I want to say in the 60s they stopped doing that.
Okay.
Now you understand why. Because what we see as a globe today was actually flattened. And if you actually look at plane traffic and how plane... Don't... It's that look. You're like, here he goes again. He's going down his fucking rabbit hole.
No.
But if you look at a flat map and how planes travel, it makes sense.
Okay.
See? No battle. She's just like, okay, love you. What do you want for dinner?
Yeah.
You know?
That's pretty much what I'm thinking about.
What do you think one of the conspiracy theories that I get hung up on is all the time is? Would you think it's that, or would you think it's something else?
You know, I had one in my head a while ago that I thought you were going to say, and you didn't. What was it? Gosh, that you talk about.
I'll give you another one.
What?
Joe Biden is not
wait.
the Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, I don't believe that
He's
one. But
fake. His ears are fucked up, and his little mask
Oh, my
wrinkles up
God.
on him and everything. Your ears don't
because he's
disconnect.
old.
Bullshit.
Like, as you get old, gravity is just, like, taking your ears. Like, haven't you seen people that you know with their ears that were smaller and now they're bigger?
Well, I'm not even talking about that.
Look at your ears.
My ears are gorgeous.
No.
But when years ago his earlobe was connected to his face.
Yeah,
Now
but I
it
think
no
when you
longer
get
is.
I think when people get facelifts, they, like, cut right there or something.
That motherfucker did not get a facelift.
You can't have a twin that looks that similar to
They
you.
look nothing alike.
Yeah, they
if you take a
do.
picture of him 20 years ago and today, nothing alike. That's Jim Carrey rolling around in a mask.
Yeah.
Period. Just like, what is it, Fetterman. Not the same guy.
Yeah, that one picture.
Not the same guy.
Recently, I feel like they used a double on
You
him.
can't tell me that tattoos just fucking wash off.
Hold on, because I thought of the one that I was going to think of that you believe we never went to the moon.
I absolutely don't believe we ever went to the fucking moon.
And I believe we did.
Why? Because that's what they told you?
Well, no. I mean, maybe, okay, I don't know for certain that the Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin went, because I did watch the video where Buzz Aldrin said that they never went to the moon.
Yep.
And I like to give the benefit of the doubt on, could that have been
Our government
messing with the tape that it was on? Like, could they? Yes, you can easily manipulate things these days. So if I don't see it with my own eyes, like if I didn't see Buzz say that, I just don't know if he said that. So I'm not ready to say that didn't happen.
Okay, I have a common sense thing for you.
Okay.
How on earth can you fly to the moon, pick up the phone, and call the president on a fucking landline? How does that happen?
I don't know. Why don't we take a trip to NASA and ask the experts how that happened?
That's just a common sense thing, though.
No,
Do
no,
they?
no.
I remember growing up and having the long, spiral cord that you could walk all the way around the
Yeah.
house on. Did they have that? I
Maybe.
mean, how would they be able
No, but
to
they
call
used
the
the
president?
advances of their technology. Was they had a lot more money to spend on that than we have in our household with
But
our
why haven't we
cord
been
phone.
back?
We well, I don't know.
See?
People have been back to the moon.
We haven't been to the moon. Period. See, she just said that's. She's gullible too.
Okay.
But it's okay.
That's true. I am gullible, but
But that just don't
I
make no
still
sense.
need to hear and see things to believe them
Okay.
fully.
Okay.
That was the conspiracy theory that I
That you
have
thought I
talked
was
to you
going to
so
go
much.
with.
Yeah, and that I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. I
Well,
think that's
we've
about
used-
it.
yeah,
I
you
think
still-
we've
you need
used up
to-
some time. We're going to get kicked out of here at any point. This is a setup you guys are going to start to see more often. We are looking to bring this to the collective, a gym that we're involved with. Again, very strong on the health and wellness. That's a huge part of our lifestyle now. I've gotten Bristal involved with it.
Love it.
She's got a trainer now at the collective. We're going to start doing all of our medical there. It's just something we have a huge passion for, especially in the construction and the real estate stuff that we're doing as well. We're bringing health and wellness into everything that we do as a focus. It's going to be a focus for our employees. We're going to be officing at the collective as well, which is going to be huge because one of the benefits that we will give to our employees is memberships at the collective. We want those around us to be healthy, and we want them to train, and we want to give them the knowledge of being healthy and how much better it can affect their lives. But we'll be in front of the camera with this ugly ass face a lot more often because we're going to be bringing this to the collective as well. So we're very excited about
Yeah,
that.
we are.
So I appreciate you sitting down with me,
course.
even though you spend a ton of time with me anyway because we work together. But it
I
works.
love every minute.
It works. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.